folks? It's Gabriel Sirianni. Thank you for tuning in again. Well, we're here today with a very prominent figure in local Buffalo communities, Mr. Baby Joe Mesi. So, Joe, I'd like to thank you for giving this interview today.
My pleasure, Gabriel.
Absolutely, thank you. I'd just like to point out some facts about Mr. Mesi real quick before we begin, give you a little bit of a synopsis. As an amateur, he actually defeated Hasim Rahman. If you ever heard of him, he was a heavyweight champion, actually knocked out Lennox Lewis and held the title for a little bit. Joe had an orthodox stance as a fighter, and as a pro, he conducted 36 wins. 29 of those wins came by way of knockout with 0 losses. He supports many local charities here in the community and is a prominent figure in the Buffalo community as well. So I'd like to start off with actually asking Mr. Mesi, what are your thoughts on the Floyd Mayweather and Victor Ortiz fight that just took place last Saturday?
Well, until the end of the fight, Gabriel, I thought it was an exciting fight. I think Ortiz is a very strong fighter. He's young. He's a little inexperienced. Had it didn't end the way it did, I thought it would have been a pretty exciting fight, a challenging fight for Mayweather. Of course, Mayweather won, and he would have won anyway because he's the best fighter who ever lived. But it was an exciting fight, but with an interesting ending.
Absolutely, for sure. It was definitely entertaining. And that's what all the folks pay that much money for, especially with a pay-per-view event where it was held at the Staples Center. And I believe that it ended in the fourth, but they still got their money's worth. As far as the actions at the end of the fight, Floyd Mayweather's actions at the end of the fight, I mean, do you feel that they were legal with the punches?
It's as I mentioned to you, Larry Merchant and I have stayed in touch through the years, and he couldn't have put it in a better way. It was a legal sucker punch.
Yeah. So,
can you argue it? Can you call it a no fight, no contest? I don't think so. It was a legal sucker punch. At the end of the day, Ortiz seemed okay with it at the end of the fight, so you can't really argue the fact too much. But the fact is, it came from a classless fighter.
Right.
So that's why it makes it so obvious.
Yeah, and I mean that fight was actually refereed by the famous Joe Cortez, who actually just recently got inducted into the Boxing Hall of Fame. Moving on to the next question here, sir. What are your thoughts on Ortiz actually letting his guard down there? Like at the end, he kind of just dropped his gloves.
I watched it a few times. You can almost see him doing that. I think that he thought, hey, Cortez isn't ready. Cortez kind of had his back turned. He's not ready. We'll touch gloves. I'll apologize again, which was kind of unnecessary. But the thought is Cortez wasn't ready.
Right. Exactly.
But Cortez started counting too, so obviously he was somewhat ready.
Yeah.
So I could see what Ortiz was thinking, but he shouldn't have been thinking that way. Hands up at all times. Again, a cheap shot, bad timing, classless fighter, but he gets the win, and he should get it.
Absolutely.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
it's kind of tough.
And at the same time, at the same token, prior to that, with Ortiz's headbutt, they kind of both had a little bit of a dirty deed. Maybe he was trying to get Mayweather off his game a little.
I'm certain Ortiz's corner told them he's very fast, he's very fluid, he gets around the ring good. You get him in the corner, you get him in the ropes, rough him up.
Yeah.
You gotta be a little legal about it, go ahead. He was a little blatant, that head blow, but I'm sure that's what they said, rough him up, elbows, head, everything. My trainers have told me that. You can't do it as blatantly as he did it, but I could see why he did it.
Absolutely. And just real quick in conclusion, I'd like to ask you, it's a question everybody's been wondering. Obviously, your opinion's very valued on a topic like this. What's next for Floyd Mayweather? I mean, are we ever going to see the super fight between Floyd and Manny Pacquiao?
It'd be a shame if we didn't. Again, going back and forth with Larry Merchant, it's a fight that needs to happen for the benefit and for the greatness of the sport. The sport is obviously on the downside, and what we need is great fighters to fight other great fighters, and there aren't many of them. These are the two best. They owe it to the sport to fight each other, and anything else would be excuses. They're going to make a lot of money. The winner isn't going to change my or your life, but it's just going to be entertaining and fun to watch, and they're going to make a lot of money doing it. It'd be nonsense for them not to. Will it happen? I don't know. Is one of them waiting for the other to get old? Because it's not going to happen with Mayweather. Yeah. It might happen with Pacquiao. We'll soon find out as he's coming up with a big fight against Marquez. I don't know if they can make any more interesting matches up with Mayweather any longer that are not Manny Pacquiao.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more on that. All right, folks. Well, listen, thank you for tuning in. Mr. Mesi, thank you for coming out, giving us this interview.
Thank you. My pleasure. Anytime.
All right. Make sure you stay tuned in, folks.